All right. Hello, everyone. We're just doing a quick mic check. If you can hear me, please let me know. And give me 1 second to check it myself. All right. So again, if you guys can hear me, please let me know. All right, it looks like we are live. Apologies if it's a little bit low, but my mic is boosted to max. All right. So, hello guys. This is the live stream for education vocab. Again, remember guys, this is not this is going to be about building your vocabulary for all the different parts of this test. There are 4 steps you can do to improve your own speaking vocabulary and grammar. They are these 4 steps right here. You have access to this document yourself by going right down here and clicking this first link. It will open you up to today's document, so if you run into some problems, you guys can always check that. Also, make sure you guys are not watching in the past. Make sure you guys are live. And if you guys like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. All right. So, hello guys. It looks like we're up to 3 people already. Fantastic. Let's go down here and get started on a broad range of vocabulary. We did a similar class months ago, so let's try to make sure we're coming up with new vocabulary here. Stuff that we haven't seen before. So we can have types of education institutions. We might have done this before, so instead at the bottom, let's say verbs associated with education. And if you guys can think of any more broad topics or categories for organizing our words, please let me know in chat. Okay. So the pitch and volume is low. Okay. Okay, from my test, unfortunately this is the highest my microphone will go. If you guys give me 1 second, I'll try to plug it back in again. 1 second. Okay. Is it working fine now? All right. So, excellent. Up to 8 people already. Right now, we're just coming up with vocabulary categories. And then also, if you know any differences, go ahead. I'm going to put one of the most common ones right here. We have public school and private school. So in the US, what this means is schools that are funded by the state and free to attend. And in the UK, this actually means private institutions. And then the reverse is true. In the US, are schools that you need to pay to get into. And they're usually a bit more prestigious. So this is just to get us started. Ideally, you guys will be telling me schools that, or vocabulary that you guys think is good. Which one is better? Okay, so I see VOCA. I'm assuming that means vocational schools, which would go under a type of institution. Or so if you want to become a mechanic, you would go to a trade school, maybe a carpenter, and these are things where you learn a trade. There are actually even some CAD programs for design. And vocational schools or trade schools exist both in the UK and the US, but usually, like, it's in the UK, you can go to trade school at 16 or even as early as 14, I think. And then you leave early to get into the trades immediately. In the US, it's a bit more similar. I actually am not really sure about the US when you can go into the trades to go to a trade school or a vocational school. They really are not very popular. They're kind of looked down upon. This isn't a good thing. It's bad for the economy. But yeah, okay. Oh, and which one is better, U.S. or U.K. vocabulary? Well, Raghav, um, as that's a little okay. So when you're doing your speaking test or when you're doing your writing test, either one will be okay, and you can ask for clarification. So, for example, if you're taking the if you're taking the speaking tests and they say public school or private school, you can ask them which one they mean. And when you use it, you can choose whichever form you want as long as you're consistent. If you've primarily learned US pronunciation and US vocabulary, use that. If you've primarily learned UK vocabulary, use that. I do have to say, though, that on the test, because it is a UK test, more often they're going to use it in the UK version. So being familiar with the UK vocabulary will help you out more on the listening test, the reading test, and then also for some speaking test questions. Yeah, that's a really good question, Raghav. Thanks for asking it. Okay. So a lot of you guys already know the different types of school. Let's see. Let's come up with some vocabulary that may be a less familiar. We have faculty, university versus college. Let me see. What are some other common mistakes that people make? Sentence frames for describing schools. So let's start with this one because this is really common. I hear my students make these mistakes all the time. So right here, I've just graduated from high school, or I've just graduated from college. If you're going to say when you graduated, you shouldn't use the present perfect. I graduated from college just this past summer. Okay, I want you guys to look really carefully at these sentence frames to make sure that you got the grammar down correct, because these are places where you can lose points if you are making simple grammar mistakes when you're talking about yourself. Yeah, so this is for describing school. Another really popular mistake that people make is when I was in school, I am a good student. Again, huge mistake, really common. make sure that when you're talking about the past, you are using the past consistently. When I was in school, we had to wear school uniforms. Okay. So again, make sure you are consistently using the past if you're talking about the past. Some of you guys may be in school now, so here's some more sentence frames to help you out. I haven't graduated yet. And again, we are using that present perfect to score those sweet grammar points. Oh, is Phil too scary for you, Raghav? Phil is a pretty intimidating guy. Well, I will be doing a speaking class on this Saturday, so I hope to see you there so we can use some of these. But that's, for anyone who's just joining us, that's kind of the reason we're here, right? Is to make sure that we are using the right vocabulary, so that when you talk to Phil on Friday for his mock exam, or you talk to me on Saturday for just speaking class, you're able to not make these common mistakes. Okay. But again, this is a collaborative class. Raghav, I'm so happy that you are here and talking, but I see some lurkers, some people hiding in the background. If you guys have your own vocabulary or common problems, feel free to share them in the chat. And then we can talk about them and fix them, or come up with more vocabulary. We're probably only going to spend another 4 minutes working on the broad vocabulary, and then we're going to move into speaking, writing, and more speaking. Okay. So the difference between university and college. In the US, these are synonyms. Has the same meaning. However, in the UK, they are different. A university specifically means a 4-year degree. Uni means a 4-year degree. And also they usually call it uni. So, for example, you may hear someone say, I've not gone to uni. When did you graduate uni? And I want you guys to know, for the speaking exam, it's perfectly fine to be informal. So saying the shortened form is perfectly fine. Okay. So one thing that causes people a lot, ABC, I'm a straight A student. I totally believe you. And Zawil William, I'm in the final year as a sociology student at university. All right. So ABCI, I totally believe you're a straight A student. Let me put that down under these sentence frames. And I just want to make this clear that in ABCI's sentence, this means that she's a student now. So, I'm a straight A student, or past tense. I was a straight A student. Both of these are perfectly fine. If we're looking at Zawil's, yours is almost perfect, but you ended up making a little mistake at the end. So let me point out both of them. Hello, bye, welcome, happy to see you. Yes. Let's see if we can help out Zawil. And let's put this on the next page so that it's clear. So I'm in my final year as a sociology student at uni. If you stopped here, it would be fine. But because you said of, it's not fine. So again, this is part of the reason you guys are here, is to point these things out that you guys may not be aware of. So also let's make this a little bit more natural sounding. Remember, native speakers are really lazy. We always say contractions when we're speaking. We don't like to say the whole thing. I'm in my final year. I'm in my final year. So I'm in my final year as a sociology student at the University of Manchester. or whatever the name of your university is. Let me do this one more time for maybe a school that doesn't have university of. I'm in my final year as a engineering student at Virginia Tech, which is where I graduated from. There's a high-level way to say the school that you came from, but I'm completely blanking. Okay, so I do want to point this out. The here is really important if you say of and then the name of the university, because there's only one. So Zawil, thanks for putting that up. Okay. Yeah. Because we've done this kind of stuff before, we're not going to spend too much time on the broad stuff. I've want to again point out some, and again, if there's any more sentences you guys want to have checked right now, this is the time. But while you guys are typing that up, I want to point out, if you aren't saying the time period, you can use present perfect to show off your grammar muscles. If you do say the time, make sure you use past simple and not present perfect. Really common mistake there. Okay. When you guys are talking about the past, when I was in school, make sure you continue to use the past tense. And haven't graduated yet. Okay. So if there's any more sentence frames you guys want me to fix or go over, feel free to put them in. But we are going to move on to the actual speaking stuff. All right. So let's go. We're gonna come back to task 2 because I do think that this is interesting. And actually, we will be doing a little bit of task 1 today as well, just because you may have to discuss or identify in a line graph or a bar chart some information comparing schools. So we will spend some time here. But we're going to do the fun stuff first while I have the most people. Speaking part 1. What I need you guys to do, no problem, Zoil. Thanks for putting that up. So what I want you guys to do right now is come up with questions. As many questions as you can. Just to give you an example. So this could be anything from who was your favorite teacher? How far away was your school from your house? What's another possible one? What's your major? I want you guys to come up with more questions. I'm only going to give you guys about 4 minutes to come up with these because I do want to keep moving and make sure that we have time to come up with answers for them. So I'm going to give you guys about a minute to type up some extra questions. We're going to go over these and then we're going to move on to the next part. So, give me some questions. I'm eager for them. Yeah. Let me just drink some water while I'm waiting for you guys. Again, at this point, we're coming up with speaking part 1 questions that we will then answer, and I'm going to help you guys with your grammar and vocab. So go ahead in chat, type up some questions that you think you might see in speaking part 1. Remember, speaking part 1 questions will always be about you and your experiences. And I'll just put one more up here while I'm waiting for you guys. And remember, this could be in frame 1 where they're first asking you those very basic questions. Remember, there's 3 frames or 3 sets of questions in speaking part 1. And the first one is always going to be really short, really easy. They actually don't want to spend too much time in frame 1 because they want to spend more time in frame 2 and 3. But you could still have to talk about your school experiences in frame 2 and 3. Hello, Lei Feng. Welcome. Happy to see you. All right. These are great. Let me throw these up really fast, and then we can start answering them. Of course, if you guys want to start answering them now because we have so many, that is also perfectly fine. So this one from Bai, what do you like about your school? We could also change this to what did you like about your school? One of the most common questions me and Phil get about speaking part 1 is how do I express my current situation? The examiner is going to ask you a question, and then he's going to modify his questions based on your answer. So for example, if the examiner is like, do you work or do you study? And then you say, oh, I'm a student. He's going to ask you the questions about you being a student, right? But if he says, do you work or do you study? And then if you say, I haven't started my job yet, but I just graduated last year, he's going to change his questions to be about your school experience in the past. He's not going to ask you about work because you haven't worked yet. So he may change his questions to, what did you like about your school? What was your major? So I hope you guys aren't too worried about this. If you don't have these experiences, they will change it so that it won't be too difficult for you. Don't worry too much about that. Let me put these up. By the way, Armand says, what does major mean? Major means the subject that you're studying. So let me put another one up here. What subjects are you studying? So major is normally talking about university and college. So subjects could be both university and college, and then also high school. So for example, some high school subjects are math, science. More specifically, it could be calculus, trigonometry for math. You could be studying geology for science. Major is going to be like the thing that you want your degree to be. So for example, my major was international relations. Yeah. Let me put my own up here really fast. I graduated with a degree or diploma in international relations with concentrations in business and environmental studies, and minors in medieval studies and Spanish. So this is true, and it looks really impressive, but what it basically means was I didn't know what I wanted to study in college, so I studied everything. So I graduated with a degree or diploma in international studies with concentrations. These are like, they're not as big as minors, but it's what you were focusing on in your diploma. And then minors are like majors, but smaller. Okay. If we're talking about subjects, when I was a junior in high school, I studied trigonometry. So trigonometry, English, AP US history, AP psychology. God, there were 6 of them. What else did I study? I didn't do PE. I didn't do any music. Spanish. And one other class I've completely forgotten. By the way, if you want to put your own answers up here, that's perfectly fine, and I can fix them for you. I just hope that my high-level answers are giving you some sentence frames that you can steal. And again, I do want to point out one other thing. Sometimes when you're answering a question, you're not actually going to use the word that's up here. What subjects are you studying? I never said the word subject. I just listed the subjects that I did study. So let me change this as well. What subjects did you study in high school? Okay. I do want to point out this isn't a great answer because we're not being direct. High school is more general than junior year. So I'm going to change this a little bit. I studied a huge variety of subjects. Just to give you an example, when I was a junior in high school, I studied blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is a better answer because it directly connects to what subjects did you study in high school. Okay. So let me throw up some more that you guys are saying. Again, if you want to put your own answers in here, this is the time to get them fixed and leveled up. You guys are doing great here. So Raghav, what was your favorite subject? Perfect. ABCI says, when was your last exam at school? Okay. Nice. Another difference between US and UK is papers. So you're going to talk about a paper. When you say a paper, it means like a test. So like the listening paper, as opposed to the listening test in US English. Yeah, UK English is so weird, isn't it? Okay, Zoil, you came up with a ton of great ones, actually. Let me just copy and paste them all into here so everyone can answer them. So why did you choose your major? Do you have any preferred subjects? This isn't quite what I would say. Do you enjoy studying? That's fine, and why? So actually, I kind of see what Will was trying to say, so I'm going to rearrange that a little bit. Do you hate any of your classes or subjects? Which subject is your favorite? Okay, this is a little bit more of a normal question that you would see in English. Okay, let me put some more up here. And again, if you guys want to come up with your own answers, now is the time. Don't be shy. So what was your favorite subject? Perfect. Armand, I've already answered your question. ABCI, did you do any extra classes after school? Ooh, darn. We should have talked about this earlier. Did you go to any extra classes after school? Great collocation. Go to extra classes. Did you go to any extra classes after school? Another way that you could say this is, did you do any extracurriculars? And what this means are things that you would do after hours at school. So for example, when I was in middle school, I was part of the school government and had meetings after school ended. I was in Taekwondo in high school. If you're in like China or Taiwan, like Bushiban culture is pretty big. So let me give you an example. I'm taking extra math and English classes at a Bushiban that is in English. I think you call it a cram school. right across the street from my high school. Okay, so I really wanted to point this out to show you guys that, again, it's perfectly fine to use your own native language as long as you do your best to say, I don't know what this is called in English, or even better, this is what we call it in English. Okay, so cram schools are bushibans. Cram schools are schools that you go to outside of school. Okay. So extracurriculars could be sports, they could be clubs. I'm part of the drama club. We meet after school every Wednesday and do improv. Or we meet every Tuesday to rehearse for a play. We usually put on a play 3 times a year. Okay. So, really good ones, extracurriculars, nice high-level word that you guys can steal and learn. Just make sure that you use it correctly. Okay. Let's see what other things you guys have come up with. All right. What kind of school did you go to as a child? That's a really good one, Rashitha. Okay. And again, if you guys want to try to answer some of these, now is the time. Because after this, we will be moving on to the next section. So what is the difference between the role of a teacher and a parent in education? And Raghav, how have teaching methods changed? These are definitely part 3 questions that you guys are starting to ask. So let me throw these over here. And then I do want you guys to try to answer some of the part 1 ones. It looks like Armon has one, which is fantastic. Though I think your guys' silence is because you actually don't want to practice part 1. You guys only want to practice part 3. Because you guys are all super students. Which is fine. Totally fine. How have teaching methods? Because of the S, it's have. Okay, so let's check that one that I believe Armand came up with. To be honest, I like... and also please tell me which question you are answering. I sometimes get confused and then put it under the wrong question. So please tell me which questions you guys are answering when you guys put your answers up. So to be honest, I like all the classes, and the most I like is the history of English. Okay, Armand, thank you so much for putting this up. Let's me put it over here. So we are going to need to fix the grammar a little bit here, Armand, but that's exactly why you're here, right? If your English was perfect, I would have no job and you would not be watching this stream. So let's fix the grammar. To be honest, I like all my classes. The class I like the most is the one about India's history. Okay. So one thing that I want to point out is that, of course, this was a problem right here, but I really want to point out this, which is repeating ideas. You really want to try not to do this. So the most I like is the history of India. I like history subject the most. These are so similar, and part of it is the grammar problems, that it looks like you're just repeating the same idea. So I'm going to add one more sentence on here just to show you the difference between what you said and what you wanted to say. I generally love history classes. Okay. So this is showing the difference between how you love history classes and then your favorite class. there's one last thing that I really want to point out. To be honest, I like all my classes. This is not a great thing to say. This is an okay detail, but because you're saying it first, it looks like it's your topic sentence. And what they really want to know is just your favorite subject. And that means there's only one. So we're going to fix this one more time to make sure that it's more on topic. And don't worry, Armand, a lot of people make this mistake. I'm just going to move this. So the class I like the most is the one about India's history. I generally love history classes. But to be honest, there isn't a single class that I dislike. So there isn't a single class that I dislike. This has the exact same meaning as, to be honest, I like all my classes, but because I moved it to the end of my answer, it's a detail instead of the main idea. So I hope that this helps a lot of people out because these are really common problems. Again, Armand, you are a super student. Thank you so much for putting your answer up here. And yeah, let's see. Rashitha says she has a part 3 that I'm going to put up. And there was another part 3 that I'm going to put up as well. Again, if you guys want to start putting your part 3 questions up, now is the time. We are going to do answer these next, just so that we have enough time. And then Rashitha also had an answer. I have studied in public school from preschool until grade 13. Grade 13? I think that's UK English. Let me put up a few more things, by the way, up here. That's the difference between US and UK. So A levels, I actually don't know what that means. So I'll put this under UK mysteries. A listening paper, which means a listening test. We have different grades. So in the US, we break our grades down. So we have preschool, kindergarten, and then first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way up to 6th grade. Then after that, we have 7th grade and 8th grade, which is generally middle school. And then we have 9th through 12th. And then we have university or college. And then you can get your master's and your PhD. But the thing I wanted to point out was that another way to say this in US English is freshman. So you are a freshman. In 10th grade, you're a sophomore. In 11th grade, you're a junior. And in 12th grade, you are a senior. So they don't do this in the UK. They think that we're really weird in America for naming 9th through 12th grade. So 13th grade, I don't think, I think both systems go up to 12th grade. So I think that might have just been a typo, but let's put that up. So I have studied, Rashitha, I'm not sure which question you're answering here. Yeah, I'm not sure which question you're answering. And then ABCI has, did you do any extracurriculars? Nice. Let's put hers up here and see if there's anything that we need to fix. And Raghav, that looks like a great answer. Let me put that up as well. First, to fix ABCIs. I took part in several nonprofit organizations. Ooh, so fancy. Which are mostly monitored by high school students. Monitored means watched, so there may be a better word for this. As part of the organizing committee, I treasured, past tense, I treasured the skills I learned from it. And just get rid of really much. Okay, not too much to fix. I would probably change it to I did, and then I took part in, I was a member of several non-profit organizations connected to my high school. These were mostly organized by us high school students. I was actually a part of one, I was actually on one of these organizations' committees. And then that last sentence was fine. I treasured the skills I learned from it. Okay. Nice. So I hope you see what you said wasn't terrible, but what I'm doing is just giving you some higher level ways to say it. I was a member of several. And then there was one that you were on the committee. So on the committee. Okay. Yeah, I hope you found this useful, ABCI. And then let's go to Raghav's, and then we're going to move down to part 3. So again, if you guys want to start coming up with part 3 questions, go ahead. We already have 3 or 4, which is fantastic. So Raghav, he was talking about his favorite language. So which subject is your favorite? Let's put this up. I had a knack for communications, so native language was my favorite subject to learn. Huh. I like how you set this up, Raghav. Unlike the thing that I was talking about before where they were out of order, because this is such a short answer, which is fine, starting with the reason is actually perfectly fine. I had a knack for communication, so if you said the name of your native language, it would be fine here. So just as an example, so English was my favorite subject. You don't need to say to learn. You can, but you don't need to. So if you know the name of your native language and you put it here, so Japanese, so Hindi, so Spanish was my favorite subject, would be best. If you wanted to add one more detail here, I could write all the papers I needed to for that class's homework in a cinch. It was a breeze, and I loved it. And I loved how easy it was to pass. Nope, cinch is the word I want. Yep. This is higher level. If you don't want to say this sentence because you don't quite understand it, that's fine. And also, if there's ever anything I write up here that you don't understand, it's perfectly okay to ask. Okay, so like I said, this is perfectly fine. Your original answer is great, Raghav. This is just, if you wanted to expand it and make it a little bit longer, this is what I would say. It's the reason why I love it was because the homework was easy. I could write all the papers I needed to for that class's homework in a cinch. In a cinch, by the way, is something that you guys might want to learn. Nice little thing there. It was a breeze, and I loved how easy it was to pass. or how easy it was to get an A. All right. Let me look up cinch really fast to make sure I'm spelling that right. Is it with a C? It is with a C. Okay, sorry guys. In a cinch. Okay. And by the way, if you do something in a cinch, you think it's very easy to do. Okay. All right. Nice. Excellent job, guys. We're going to move down to part 3, the reason you guys are all really here. So we already have a couple right here, and these are great. And I believe that there was one more from Rashitha. How can we help children realize their talents? And Raghav, cakewalk is a great synonym for in a cinch. You would use it in a different sentence frame, but yeah, you nailed it. Let me show you how you would modify it for cakewalk. So that was up here. Writing the papers that I needed to for the class was a walk in the park. It was a cakewalk. Was a cakewalk. That sounds a little strange to me, actually. Cakewalk is a good high-level word to use. I'm just thinking it was a cakewalk. It was a walk in the park. Doing the homework was a piece of cake. Okay. Doing the homework for this class was a piece of cake. Man, we're getting a ton of great idioms. It was a cakewalk. Cakewalk is okay. Again, I don't know why it's sounding weird to me right now, but it is the right word to use in this situation. But remember, getting those idioms is important for your vocab. So if something was a walk in the park, or if it was a piece of cake, all of these things mean that it was really easy. So I hope you guys can steal these, put these in your vocab notebook, and use them. If you guys want to, in the comments after the live stream, write your own sentences using these idioms: cakewalk, a piece of cake, or a walk in the park, or a breeze, or in a cinch. Feel free to leave it in the comments, and me and Phil will be more than happy to help you out. Also, if you want to do it right now, that's also okay. So let's go down to these part 3 answers. You guys have some great questions here. If you guys want to put some more questions up here, feel free. But now I want you guys to try to answer some of these. Feel free, guys. So these are some potential part 3 speakings. I didn't organize them by difficulty. It's kind of a little bit of a mess, but feel free to write your own answers for these or come up with more questions. Both work. I'll give you guys about a minute to type up your answers, and then we'll go over them. All right, it looks like Rashitha is fast out the gate. And she's got an answer for us already. All right, and feel free to take some time to write up your own answers. But in the meantime, let's take a look. So, what is the difference between the role of a teacher and a parent in the education of children? Rashitha's answer is, I think the role of a teacher is to help students to improve their knowledge and inspire them to learn the subjects. On the other hand, parents should make sure their children complete homework and show children how to behave properly. Oh, I wish that was the case. Teachers often need to teach children how to behave. At least in the schools that I worked at when I was teaching children back in the day. Teaching children can be very rewarding, but so much of the job is classroom management, making sure that they're learning the correct way to behave and how to follow the rules. I really personally prefer just to teach people who already know that they want to learn English and are willing to put in the work. That's why I love teaching IELTS. All right, but this answer is fine. On the other hand, it feels a little bit strange, but not terribly strange. When I first read it, I'm like, she actually used this right. Many people use on the other hand wrong. Many people get this CC word wrong. They've learned it maybe in high school, and they try to use it in more situations than is appropriate. So give me 1 second to take another look at this. I think the role of a teacher is to help students to improve their knowledge and inspire them to learn the subjects. Perfect. On the other hand, parents should make sure their children complete homework and show children how to behave properly. So one thing that I want you guys to always remember, if you're going to use on the other hand, it's actually part of a pair. It's part of a set. If you say on the one hand, what you mean is on the one hand. So whenever you say on the other hand, that means you're always going to start the first idea on the one hand A, on the other hand B. Let me give you some examples of how to use on the one hand and on the other hand, and I'll let you guys decide whether or not it's used correctly here. So on the one hand, Michael is handsome and so cool. On the other hand, he stinks. He always smells. I don't think I want to go to his classes anymore. So mean. Okay. On the one hand, Michael and Phil have videos that are filled with great content. On the other hand, they are both very boring. I don't think they are going to become YouTube stars. Man, I'm just coming up with very sad examples. So we always use on the one hand and on the other hand when we're thinking about the pros and cons of a situation. So now that we know that, is this the right way to use it? Honestly, if you used it as Rashitha did, you'll probably be fine. This is a really high level problem that we're thinking about here. If there is a mistake with on the other hand, it's a small one, it's a minor one. But I do want you guys to be careful with this because it is possible to use it completely wrong. Okay. Rashitha, thank you so much for putting this answer up. It's quite good. If anyone else also wants to answer this question, feel free to. This is a great one, and there's multiple answers that you guys can use here. Okay, and then we have another answer from ABCI, or another question, sorry. Is an exam-oriented education bad? Good question. Honestly, I love teaching this also because I get to hear people's great ideas. So, anybody else have any answers that they want to put up? Okay, what is the best way to educate children, in your opinion? Nice, Rashitha. Okay. Feel free to put some answers up here, guys. And of course, if you would like me to answer any of these to give you that high-level vocab and grammar that you can steal, feel free to. Also, if you haven't yet and you found this useful, please make sure you hit that like button. It really does help us out a lot. Oh, okay. Hello, Way On. Welcome. Okay. Rupinder has an answer as well. Let me put that up. Oh man, I threw down the gauntlet. I put up the challenge and people are like, I'm going to put my answer for that super hard one up too. Okay, let's look at Rupinder's answer. I think the role of a teacher is to, okay, and I do want to point this out. Make sure that you guys learn the set phrase if you can. I think the role of a teacher is to provide academic knowledge as well as encourage them to follow their goal. Okay, this sounds like half an answer. Rupinder, I'm waiting for your other half. And encourage them to follow their goal. Follow their goal isn't quite the right thing to put here. I like the answer so far though. Just a few little tweaks just like I did for Rosita. The role of a teacher is to provide academic knowledge as well as encourage them to reach their goals. Okay. And Rupinder, I have a feeling you're going to tell me about the parent side next. I'll give you some time to type that. Rashitha, it sounds like you are on fire with these questions. Nice. And a really that is a great question to ask. To education. Give enough support for education. To education sounds better, actually. All right. Again, if you guys want me to answer any of these, just let me know, and I will be happy to. And then if you guys want to put your own answers up here, this is your chance. I know that you guys are probably slowly typing in English. I understand typing in another language is hard, difficult, but I'm looking forward to seeing your answers. Okay, and Rupinder has the rest of it. Whereas parents are responsible to raise them as good citizens. Ooh, nice. Okay. So because we're talking about children in general, you said they, them, so multiple. So citizens, so no Citizens, so no Be careful of that in your answer. But yeah, this is perfectly fine. Whereas is the right word to use here. I do want to point this out. Okay, because you guys seem to love this one, while we're waiting for more people. Okay, ABCI wants me to answer the exam-oriented one. I'll give you an easy answer, and then I'll give you a more nuanced and complicated one. So, is an exam-oriented education bad? I personally don't think so. I think that we need tests and exams in order to compare students and assess whether or not they are learning what they need to in school. I think that it would be really easy for kids to get left behind if we didn't have our courses built around standardized tests. By the way, and I'll give you guys a second to look this over. Let me put it on a new page so that it's really easy to see. Is an exam-oriented education bad? I answered it directly with my opinion. This is asking for your opinion, so make sure you give it. I personally don't think so. I think that we need tests and exams in order to compare students and assess whether, so this is two things, and assess whether or not they are learning what they need to learn in school. I think that it would be really easy for kids to get left behind if we didn't have our courses built around standardized tests. I want to point this out, if we didn't have our courses built around standardized tests. I want to point out this is the reason why it directly connects. This is an exam-oriented education. This is not, should we have tests or should we not have tests? This question is asking, should we organize all of the classes around tests? So this is, they are always going to ask you some of these questions to see if you are a 6, 7, 8, or 9. 8 or 9 level person would realize this question is not saying are tests good, are tests bad. This question is asking, should we have our education system built around tests? And this is actually this is a really relevant argument nowadays. A lot of people are arguing about whether or not we should have an exam-oriented education. China and Taiwan are both, and Japan and Korea are examples of very exam-oriented educations. They have tests all the time, and at the end of high school, to determine what college they go to, they have one big test that you need to take. America is also pretty test-oriented, but not as exam-oriented as these Asian countries are. But again, this isn't saying are tests good or bad. This is saying, should we build all of our courses around standardized tests? To give you a higher level, more nuanced answer, I'm going to say what I actually think. I really think we need to move away from this style of education. This style of education, by the way, is referencing, and it means exam-oriented education. Okay. I think that it is very harmful to our youth as it leads them, as it results in them being extremely stressed, limits their creativity, and kills their confidence. There are studies that have shown that all this exam culture does is teach our kids how to take tests well. It doesn't actually teach them, it doesn't actually encourage them to pick up the skills that we are trying to teach them. Okay. So, this again is a higher level answer. We have some nice referencing up here. This is a nice sentence frame that you guys can steal. I think that it's very harmful too. Blah, 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 blah. I give 3 reasons why it's harmful. And then this is something that may get a lot of people to go, hey, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. There are studies that have shown you can mention studies. You don't need to be specific. You don't need to say, oh, I read a study in Scientific America. You can just reference studies that you've read before in the past, and just mention it in relation to answering the question. So I didn't say where it came from. I didn't give too much detail. I just said the result and how it's connected to the question. All right, guys. If there's any part of this that you don't understand, feel free to ask me. It's perfectly fine. This is the vocab day. Let me see. We've got a few more answers up here from Rupinder, Raghav, and Rashitha. Let's take a look at their answers. So Rupinder says, this one is related to which one? I think this is realize their talents. By the way, guys, please make sure you tell me which question you are answering, because again, I do sometimes get confused and I put it with the wrong question. So if I put this with the wrong question, please let me know. I apologize for that. Yes. Okay, Rupinder, let's look at your answer. I think the best way to teach children is to use more creative and enjoyable activities, nice, which will help them to concentrate more. And then it looks like this is another one. Okay, so we'll move that down. So I think the best way to teach children is to use more creative and enjoyable activities. Ah, yes, the annoying is, why do we need it? Because it's the best way. I think the best way to teach children is, and then you'll say the next part, to use more enjoyable activities. Okay. Be aware that the examiner may ask a follow-up question. Not that your answer is wrong. Your answer is perfectly fine, but remember they will try to push you. So a follow-up question that you may be asked after this is, can you give me some specific examples of these creative and enjoyable activities? Or you may be asked, how exactly does this lead them to concentrate more? Now remember, don't be scared. They are just pushing you. They're making sure you can justify or follow up what you were saying. So if you guys want to try to answer these questions after this answer, again, the answer is perfectly fine. Feel free to leave that in the chat. And let me move his other one down to where it belongs. And again, the exam-oriented question. Okay, Rupinder. Right? Yes, this is Rupinder. Okay. I don't think so because exams are good. Okay. I don't think so because exams are good are, let me change this a little bit for you. Just a few little grammar things here that I hope that you study and you go, why did I get that wrong? By the way, I highly recommend you guys pick up grammar books, just in general, just to review these things. I know that you guys learned a lot of grammar in school, but that might have been a long time ago, and I bet you didn't learn everything. You probably forgot some things in school. So picking up a grammar book is never a bad idea. One book that I recommend you get is Grammar in Use. Grammar in Use is a great book. English Grammar in Use by Murphy. Great thing to pick up and just refresh your grammar. Okay, so let's fix this. I don't think so because exams are a good way to analyze how much children actually have learned from lectures. Okay, so Rupinder, don't take this the wrong way. We fixed the grammar, just a few small things, but this is not actually this. If you gave that answer, if you're aiming for like 6.5 or 7, it's actually perfectly fine. But again, it's not quite getting to the root of this. If you were aiming for an 8 or a 9, this doesn't quite address the root of this question. This question is talking about exam-oriented education. So it's the education system, not just are tests good or bad. So let me let me add another question so that you can see exactly what you answered. Are tests good or bad? Are tests bad? Okay. This is the question that you answered. It is not the same as this question. But again, this is a very high-level, difficult question that is being asked. Okay. Let's get to the next one. And thank you so much for everyone who's still here and working on building their vocab and grammar. Remember, everyone, if you like what you see, hit the like button. And then right down here, you guys can always click on the document, bring it up, and copy and paste anything you want. Okay. Stealing is okay in this class. So, let me see. The next one, I believe, was Raghav again. So, as far as the education system with examinations are concerned, again, not quite right. Yeah, let's put this up so everyone can see together. This is Raghav's answer. Okay. And then, okay. So, let's first of all fix any grammar and vocab problems. Okay, so as far as the education system with examinations, again, this is the bad part. This isn't saying we need to get rid of all tests. This is exam-oriented. Exam-oriented means exam-focused. So this means it's not, so you can have an education system that uses tests, but is not exam-focused. That would be, you have tests in class, but the main point of the class is not to pass an exam. That would be an example of a non-exam oriented education. So we would need to change with to a different word. So as far as education systems, let me copy and paste this again so that we can make sure that we got it. Focused on examinations. Are concerned, comma. Okay. These are a waste of money. Oh no, articles, I hate you so much. Manpower, and put a lot of pressure on children. And the real potential is not judged by these exams. So I would actually stop here and then make a new sentence. In fact, I'm going to change this. The students' actual abilities are not judged well, are not judged by the exams, are not realized by these exams, are not assessed, assessed well by these exams. Finland is one of the examples, so is a great example where the real caliber of students is properly gauged. Okay. So, I am picking up speed a little bit. I'm not going over all of the problems, but this is how I would fix it. Okay? The basics are fine. It was just a little bit of vocab and grammar. They were quite minor. Okay, but this is actually a good answer to that question. Yes, this is a good answer to this question. You're saying the reasons why it's bad, and then an additional reason why it's bad, and then an example of a better system? Yeah. No, this is a fine answer. Nice. Okay. Going down to Rashitha. And Rashitha's just, she's like, I'm done with these simple questions. Let's put some more questions up here. Thank you, Rashitha. That's great. Let me put these up because these are great questions. And again, if you guys want to answer any more of these questions, or if you want me to answer any of these questions, feel free. Okay. Oh, these are tough questions. Does everyone get equal opportunities to study? Okay. And what are some pros and cons of studying on a distant learning course? Yeah, I like these. These are nice. Okay. And finally, let's look at Rashitha's answer. In my opinion, there is not enough support yet, especially in remote places. Okay, let's put this up for everyone to see. This is, does the government provide enough support? And it's perfectly fine to start with my opinion, because this is talking about your opinion, in your view. I want to point something out. This is used correctly, guys. Rashitha, thank you so much for this example. But many students use this when it's not an opinion. Please be careful. Only use in my opinion if the question is about your opinion. If it's not about your opinion, it's just fluff. I see students make this mistake so many times. So please only say my opinion if it is about your opinion. All right, let's take a look at Rashitha's answer. And we're going to do ABCIs, and then I think we're going to call it a day. I know that you guys can stick around for a long time, but we do see a pretty big drop-off after the hour mark, because who can listen to my voice for a whole hour? Jeez, I'm surprised you guys are awake. In my mind, I'm seeing you guys watch my live stream, and then your eyes are getting heavier and heavier, and then eventually your eyes close, and you fall forward and fall asleep at your desks. So thank you guys for sticking around this long. I hope that this is useful. If you guys think that this is useful, please let us know in the chat or in comments, because you guys are awesome, and I want to help you guys on this journey. Okay, so does the government provide enough support to education in your view? In my opinion, there is not enough support yet. No, because enough. There's not enough support yet. Especially in remote places like rural areas where most of the children do not go to school due to their family financial reasons. Okay. Every child should go to school and involve themselves in extracurricular activities, and get involved would be a little bit better. And get involved in, so I want to set this up as a set phrase that I want you guys to learn. Get involved in extracurricular activities to become a more well-rounded person. Become a more well-rounded person. You could say to become a well-rounded person, that's also okay. A more is just slightly better. Now, their family financial reasons is perfectly fine, but I think we can come up with a higher level vocab for this. So instead, due to... Okay, I'm just going to give you a higher level way to say this. Due to their families' financial situation, or due to financial concerns for their family. Or if you want to be even more specific, due to the fact that their families can't afford to send their kids to school. All right, nice. So again, this is perfectly fine. I've just given you some higher level words that you can use that mean the exact same thing. Now, just like I did earlier, remember you may be asked a follow-up question. So a good follow-up question that you may be asked in that case, what exactly should the government be doing or do? And they may ask for specific examples as well. Okay, or it may be something like, why hasn't the government addressed these problems yet? Okay. Nice. Really good answer, Rasita. And I hope that you found the vocab that I gave you useful. Okay, going down finally to ABCI. Thank you for telling me the question. Help children realize their talents. Okay, nice. Okay. So, in my opinion, so how can we help children realize their talents? In my opinion, the best way for youngsters to realize their potential in any field that adults can do is, okay, lots of relative clauses here, is to give them the chance to step out of their comfort zone. Ooh, nice vocab here, ABCI. For example, a music prodigy can only be discovered if he is given an instrument or a mic to sing, even if it was his first time. Okay. Even if it was his first time, it doesn't sound wrong, but I don't see the logic of having this last line. I don't know why it sounds okay, but I would just delete that last, even if it was his first time. Yeah, I would just get rid of that. Okay, so yeah. You haven't actually made a grammar mistake, but it is a little bit unclear because of the grammar choices that you've made. So I'm going to rearrange this. The best thing that an adult can do to help a youngster or a young person to realize their potential in any field is to give them the chance to step out of their comfort zone. Okay. Yeah, your answer, the content of your answer was perfectly fine. We just had to rearrange it a little bit. This was a little bit confusing. Like, it's not wrong, but what it's connecting to is the best way. And because the relative clause is so far away from the noun that it's modifying, in writing it's okay. In speaking, it's a little bit far away. So I just rearranged it a little bit to make it a little bit clearer. Again, the grammar's not wrong. It just could be misunderstood. Okay. All right, guys. You guys have been fantastic here. I wish that we had time to do vocab for speaking part 2, and then also for writing task 1 and writing task 2, but it has already been an hour and a half. Can you believe it? Time flies when you're having fun. I hope. You guys have been fantastic. I hope that you found this useful. Remember, guys, you guys can just click this document and go back and look over anything at your own pace, at your own time. This is a live stream, so you can always go back and listen again. I know that I speak a little bit quickly, but hopefully that is preparing you for the test. You guys have been great. And remember, you guys can leave comments with your own example answers if you guys didn't have time to write your answer in the live stream. I'll be more than happy to go back through the comments and fix them for you, if you'd like. Be brave. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you, everyone who showed up. Again, I hope you found this useful, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, remember, we also have a Discord channel, so feel free to jump over there and say hello. We've got a ton of people. Don't worry, I will update the invite very soon so that works. We've got 70 people over there. It's crazy. And if you guys are looking for a speaking partner, just say, hey, I'm looking for a speaking partner. Raghav is usually looking for a speaking partner. So if you guys are looking for someone to chat to, head over to our Discord. All right, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching this whole time. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any more questions.